Hello everyone, and welcome to probably the first part of the review for the new Mitsubishi Outlander 2019 plug-in hybrid, or otherwise called PHEV. This is a plug-in electric vehicle, plug-in hybrid vehicle. So it has a gasoline engine, a drive battery and electric motors. In total, it actually has 3 motors, 2 electric motors and 1 gasoline engine, combustion engine. The difference between this and the older model is that it features a new Atkinson cycle 2.4 gasoline engine, which has more power, yet is a lot more efficient than the previous 2-liter version. The main reason that the car is so dirty is the fact that I have actually took it off-roading to see how capable this is, because on the previous model there were some issues with the 4x4 system, and a lot of users have reported that this car will not be able to cross even the slightest puddle, so it's called a 4x4 for nothing. Well, this thing has really impressed me, and you are going to see why. So it can cross something bigger than a puddle. It will go through mud, it will go to very difficult situations, it will go uphill on very steep inclines with very soft mud, and it has terrible tires. Those I could not recommend. Mine came with some Yokohama earth-saving blue type something tires, which are almost such as slick tires. They have low rolling resistance for good fuel efficiency, but that is for asphalt, not for off-road use. And you can see that they are completely covered in mud, and the mud will stick to them, and they have no gripping power whatsoever. So even this type of grass can be a bit of problem for them. But the 4x4 system kicks in very hard, and it will drive both the rear and the front wheels with maximum force on both sides, and also traction control will kick in, but it's not that intrusive like on the older model. So it will let the wheel spin happen, it will leave the car to slide a bit, so it's kind of more of a really tuned traction system, not like the previous model, which at the first sign of wheel slippage it will cut the engine power and it will leave you there standing. So that's a really good note to start with this car. So under the hood you can see here the new 2.4 engine, and here you have the generator and the transmission underneath with the electric motor. The front motor and the rear motor are both upgraded from the other version, and the rear motor now outputs something like 95 horses, if that is something interesting for you, and the front one has something around 80 horses. The total combined power of this car will not exceed 230 horses, and that is in a parallel hybrid mode, where the front engine will drive the front wheels while the excess power gets to the generator. The generator will charge the battery, and the battery will drive the rear wheels. So that's 230 horses. While in full EV mode you can drive with front and rear motor, and you have something around 178 horses or something like that. But that's plenty enough. Even if this car is very heavy, it's around 300 kilograms heavier than a diesel Outlander, it's still faster, it will accelerate faster, and it's not sluggish at all. It simply drives really nice, and it feels like a smaller, lighter car when you are accelerating with it. Now let's take a quick look at the boot space. So there are some pros and cons. The pros are that you can get now this with electrical assistance. The con is this thing, which looks absolutely horrid. The one from the Outlander 2012 was much better looking and was nicer than this thing, so they did a step backwards with this. And the boot space, it's rather sufficient, but you lose the depth of this, because under this here there's no battery like everyone is saying. It's actually the rear drive motor, which is underneath here, and the gas tank, which is rather small, so you lose a lot of space because of that. And you can actually get the difference. So the regular Outlander is this depth, the boot is that low, and this thing gets over the motor, gets this hump, and there's some usable space inside. Here you get the original charger for charging it at the mains at home, and there you get the emergency spare kit and the car jack to replace the wheel in case of troubles. So you get a bit of extra space here, but not much, because underneath it it's the motor, and you also get the auxiliary 12-volt battery here, and that's to drive the regular car electronics and wiper motors and stuff like that. So it's the normal battery, while the drive battery, as I've told you, it's not under the boot, it's actually under the floorboard of the car, and inside the floorboard has the same height as the regular Outlander, so there's no space lost inside. Another big pro is the fact that you get this plug here. It outputs 220 volts and it can supply up to 1500 watts, so you can charge a regular laptop or things like that, even use a coffee machine if you have one that does not exceed 1500 watts. So that's very nice to have it there, very useful. And now let's take a look inside. So on the rear seat you get this nice upholstery. This is not genuine leather, but it's actually synthetic leather with vinylene or something like that, so they went a bit cheap on that. But this is actually the lowest option for upholstery, so you can get this with true genuine leather if you want to, but that will cost you more. I'm okay with this because actually the build quality is rather nice. You get stitches and it's rather well made. It has a good feeling to it, and it's not that hard to maintain like regular leather, which needs constant treatments to protect them from cracking and stuff like that. On the rear you get this improved console here, which now has air vents, while the old Outlander did not have any kind of stuff here. You get a second 220 volts outlet here and a USB port for charging your mobile phone. The USB port is also connected to the front entertainment system, and you can run Android Auto from that plug and from the front USB plug, which is really nice, so you don't have to keep that mobile phone in front to distract you if you want to. And also the side panels of the doors are really nicely made. They now use soft materials. They have a nice feeling to the touch. Even this thing here, it's a combination of hard plastic with very soft materials, so they did try to improve stuff, but it's not perfect. The rear seats will also fold really easy, so you just have to take this like that and it will go like this, and you have this lever here, and now you have folded the rear seat, no problem there. And to lift it is just simple as that. You have an extra armrest here with cup holders if you need them too, and you can also put this very easy. Also in the rear you have the options to hide the adapters for the safety belts in case you don't need them and there's no one in the rear, for better showing of the car, or without them rattling here, you can simply hide them away, and that's very easy to do. The front styling also have been improved. Beside the chrome, which was also present on the older PHEV models, you now can get this redesigned headlamps and redesigned fog lamp, and they have LED bulbs. Only the turn signal is with conventional bulb, while the fog lamp, the low beam, high beam and daytime running lights are all on LEDs. So they provide not only better illumination, but their service life is hugely improved, so you don't have to replace bulbs very often, and that's very nice. Also in the front you can get optional parking sonar sensors like that, and there is also a hidden camera here. I don't know if you can see it. The camera in the front is connected with the cameras in the mirrors if they are not covered by mud, and you can see another camera here, and it's connected to the rear camera, and you get a full 360 view of the car, which I'm going to demonstrate to you later. And there's the other camera, so they are all interconnected and will generate a preview of the area around the car for making it very easy to park it. If you want to charge the beast, it's very easy because this is a plug-in hybrid. You have two plugs here. You have the regular plug here and this larger plug here. This is the quick charge plug. This is CHAdeMO, and you can get from 0 to 80% in just 20 minutes, which is amazing. While this will be the Type 1 charger, and you can use this with charging stations, with public charging, with the provided home charger and so on. And this will charge between something like the quickest charge around 3 hours and up to around 8 hours slow charge, which is really recommended for this car. They also write this in the manual. I don't know if it applies for the ordered model, but they say only seldom charge to CHAdeMO fast charger, and always do a full slow charge around 2 to 3 weeks with the home charger. That takes around 8 hours, and that is for the battery to be able to balance all the cells properly, as this thing has a 300-volt multiple cell battery underneath it. Other features include the keyless system now that looks like this. It's a regular remote with lock, unlock and tailgate open, but this is also as a keyless remote, and if you press this button and the key is next to you, you are going to open the door without any kind of problems. And the same works with the tailgate, so the car is locked, and if I have the remote in my pocket and I press the tailgate open, it will open right away. The electric tailgate also has a toggle switch. You can switch it back to manual if you want to, so you can open and close it like a regular one in case you don't want to wait for the motor to open it for you or close it for you. Now let's go to the inside of the car in the front seat, and let's have a look onto the dashboard and the things here. So I'm going to use my phone here to be sure that you are going to see everything right. So in the front you get this cup holder thing. It's the older joystick type selector. This car does not have any kind of gearbox. It only has let's call it a reduction gear, and when you are going faster than around 60-70 kilometers per hour, it will connect the motor to the front wheels, and it will not change any gear. It will be direct drive, so the engine RPM will be translated to the rotation of the wheels, and it will be able to drive the wheels up to around 170 kilometers per hour, which is plenty enough for this large car. You also get some new buttons here, and that is the sport button here, which was not available on the older PHEV model, and this thing is really nice, but you need to have a bit of battery already stored, and this thing will make the car behave really nice. It will actually use the gasoline motor, the battery, the generator and the electric motors, and it will provide you some extra boost of power, and it will make the gasoline engine act like it's being driven by a normal car and normal user. So each time when you accelerate with the gas pedal, it will also accelerate with the gas engine to provide more power to the electric motors, and it makes it really responsive and really nice to drive. Another nice feature on this car is the armrest here. On the older Outlander models, the armrest was starting around here and going to the back, while this thing has a longer part in the front, and now you can actually use it as an armrest while you drive, and you can even reach the steering wheel while holding your arm on it. The other was too short, and if you are not a very tall person and your chair was moved to the front, you could never use this armrest. Well, they fixed that. This is longer and now makes it really useful and comfortable. And of course, underneath you get some storage space, which is plenty enough for carrying a lot of junk like I do, and it's good to have. On the center console here you also get the button for heated seats with two levels, high and low. You get auto hold for the rear brake and parking brake, electrical parking brake, with this selector for choosing the traction type. And the car now has three profiles. It's normal, which will balance the power from the front and the rear motor as it needs to. It has the snow mode and the lock mode. The lock mode will generate torque always on the rear, at least 50% or something like that. It will split torque, so you always have also traction from the rear motor, not always on the front. And here on this part you have this nice holder for the keyless system. You have the option to toggle the opening of the tailgate electrically. You have another USB plug, and this also works with Android Auto. You have heated steering wheel. You have the system that gives you warnings in case you want to overtake a car. It's a blind spot something warning system. And here you have the button to turn on the AC power for the outlets. Another nice detail about this car is that the fact that they have included this type of mats or cups, and this is for the front cup holders here, and they did the same with this on the handle here. That's very nice because usually there's dirt that gets into there and it's very hard to take it out, and dust and things like that. And they added this type of small trays which are made from a rubber silicone type, so they attenuate noise, and you can take them out, wash them and put them back, which is a really good pro for me, because on the other model there was kind of an issue with these cup holders. Each time when you have put something into them and drove on a bad road, they will rattle and rattle and rattle, and it will make you mad. Well, there's no rattle with this rubber here, so that's a very good comfort option, and you can always clean it out, which I also really like. On the top part you get kind of a regular sun shields with mirrors and stuff like that. With lights you get the original lights that you can turn on or off, and the door activated lamp, and you also get a self-dimming mirror and a sunglasses holder there. So nothing in particular. There's a difference in case you have the sunroof options, which I don't have and I don't actually need, and you will have some extra switches for that, but that's another story. You have also tweeters on the mirror here. You have self electric folding mirrors that you can actually program to close when you are locking the car and unlocking the car, but you can also manually control them from this console here, and also you can program them, and that's another story. I'm going to show that also. So you have also heated mirrors, heated rear windshield, and you get this grill here that was not available on the older Outlander PHEV model and the newer Outlander. They did have the side ones but didn't have this one because of the monitor, so they did something here and they made it available back, and that's a good pro, because it was a problem for that model. You didn't have enough air in blowing in your face when you needed to cool down easily. The dashboard indicators are similar with the ones on the other older Outlander, so there's not much difference there. You have this power meter. When it's blue it charges the battery, when it's green it uses only battery, and as more as it uses the needle goes up. When it's the white zone It's in the preparing to start the thermal engine mode, and the blue mode is running generator mode or engine running mode, and it will display the generator output power. It's not related to the engine RPM. While on here you get the charge level of the battery and the fuel level of your tank. Also, you can change the display information such as kilometers, settings, trip, the range for using electric and combined power, the drive ratio and the average, and what the car is doing now, the eco mode, and this is the super all-wheel control, where it's going to show you how the traction is distributed between front and rear wheels and what the 4x4 system is doing. On the center console you get the climatization system, which can be run with the thermal engine off, so it will be used from the drive battery. It can do air conditioning, means that can pump cold air or hot air, and that is all done electrically, and that's really nice because you can actually program the car to warm up or cool down before you drive it. But it needs enough battery, and that uses a lot of power from the drive battery, so you should be cautious with that. The good part of this climatization system is that it's very silent, so you are not going to hear a compressor, you are not going to feel vibrations while the air compressor is blowing cold air inside, and that's really nice, and I like that very much. The climatization system also provides two dedicated zones, so if you power this on, you have left and rear controls, and you can go into dual mode and you can adjust that. And from here you can also, if you press on auto, it will take over and this becomes the main control again. And you can also control the compressor if you want it on or off. That's very good for saving power. And you have this eco mode. The eco mode is really nice. This thing controls two things. It controls the acceleration of the car, it remaps the accelerator pedal, so it looks like it makes the car a bit slower because you need to press the gas pedal a lot more to get that speed and acceleration. And it also makes the air conditioning work less, so it will use less power, and that translates into a better consumption overall. Now let's take a quick look at the main menu here. So you have regular FM radio, you have phone with hands-free, of course, USB connection, iPod control, Bluetooth audio and digital audio. It works with Spotify, really nice, so that's very good, and it's very easy to control your phone with that. And on the next menu you have timed air conditioning, in case you want that air conditioning to start before you go to work or something like that. You have charging codes day and night, but the most important things here are, for instance, the vehicle settings, where you have a lot of customizations, really nice customizations, such as the keyless operation. It has turn signal, lights answer back, you have a real lock timing, you have the wipers control, and they have a lot of settings here. You can adjust the lights, and you can see you have a lot of features for the light themselves, and you can go then to turn signal and a lot more. You can pause the video if you want to read the settings. You have the door unlock options, and further on you have the air conditioning, and you can even actually control the amount of air that you can control, this ratio, for instance, face to foot airflow, foot to windshield airflow. That's impressive, and you can all do that from this interface here, which is amazing. And from others you have things like mirrors and other goodies, so that's really nice, very useful to have it here, very easy to configure, and it's nicely integrated into this. Then the second most important thing is the vehicle info menu here, and this thing is really impressive. It will show you the EV power, it shows you real time the power that goes to the electric motors. It has instant fuel consumption, and here it shows you when you are electrically braking how much charge you are putting back into the battery. Then you have the energy flow, and this really nice animated thing here. It will show you the drive battery, how it powers the motors, how it regains power from the motors, how the drive motor will charge the battery, or the drive motor will drive the front wheels and things like that. And it will also show you the EV cruising range and the total cruising range. And on the eco information, it has the average consumption and stuff like that. Mine average fuel consumption is very high even though my battery is full, and that is because I have took the car to that crazy off-road, and that makes it go into charge mode and use the engine to have much more power to drive the rear wheels and the front wheels together, and it made it use a lot of fuel even though I have the battery full. And I don't mind that, because when I get stuck I'm not impressed by having low fuel consumption on a 4x4. If I'm stuck with it, it can use as much fuel as it wants to, but I need it to get me out of that mud situation, and this thing really does that, which I really enjoy. And as simple as that, just by connecting the USB cable and having Android Auto installed on your mobile phone, you can just press here on apps, and now I'm on Android Auto. This is my Spotify, so I can already play the audio from that, and I can switch tracks. I of course have controls for the music here. I can switch the track or use the volume here, and I can go to navigation. As simple as that. It will ask me what navigation I want to. I can choose Waze or Google Maps or stuff like that, so it works really nice. And it also works with Google Assistant. I can always say okay Google, and now it asks me or listens to me what I want to say, and it will not understand anything because I'm talking gibberish right now, and it's kind of hard for it to understand what I really want from it. And let's see.
I'm offline, so I can't do that. In the meantime, you can get directions, make calls, and play music.
Okay, really good, because my internet connection on my mobile phone is currently cut off. Alright, and I will not go further into details because this will get too long. Probably I'm going to do some other episodes with more details about installing and using Google Auto and stuff like that. And now I want to show you some other stuff that I have missed and promised that I'm going to show you. Is the 360 reversing camera, and that looks like this. You get this picture. The car is simulated, but the image around it, 300 degrees, is the true image around the car, and that makes it very easy to park. While you also get the main rear camera here and has assisted lines, so when you are doing a turn, you can see here dynamically the lines adjusting to your turn radius, and that makes it really nice to park. And it even shows you for the front wheels where they are going to go for the front of your car. And you can also switch the indicator for this is the front right side of the wheel, so when you are parking next to a curb you are going to see where that is, so you are not going to hit it, and it's very useful for saving your tires and your alloys. So you may ask, what's the fuel consumption for this car, because that's a very important fact. And I did a calculation here. I don't know if you can see it, probably not because the screen is very glossy and the camera will not focus. Well, I did the calculation the old way by filling up at the gas station, measuring the liters and then inputting them into a calculator with distance, and that resulted 6.68 liter per 100 kilometer, and that was with no battery charge, and for 550 kilometers road trip that included around 200 or 250 kilometers of highway, and the speed was not slow. It was around 130, 140 kilometers per hour, sometimes faster than that. Also a lot of express roads, and the speed was around 100 kilometers per hour, and a lot of slow roads, such as going through cities or going through the mountains on twisty roads, going uphill, downhill, with a lot of twisty bends, and there the speed was lower, but there I have regained a lot of power by using the regenerative braking. So you may say that's not a very good average, because it's not something like out of this world, but that was an average without charging the battery, starting with the battery empty. So that was just using the gasoline engine to provide drive and save power when going downhill and stuff like that. So it was always in hybrid mode, not EV mode. And that's also very good, because my older diesel on the same road trip with the same conditions, but actually running it a bit slower because it was noisier, I was getting an average of around 8 liters per 100 kilometers. So this was just 6.68. So that's a huge improvement for me. And if I charge this and start with full battery, I can get a much better average. And now it's time to take it for a quick drive. It's not going to be a full drive test now. That's going to be for another part of another video. But I'm just going to show you how quiet this thing is. So I'm going to shut off air conditioning, although it's very hot in here. But I want you to hear this. Yes, that's absolute silence. And actually now I'm running the engine, or at least the car, it shows that I'm ready, so I can drive it right away. Of course the gasoline engine is not working right now because the battery is full and I'm not off-roading, and it's absolutely quiet. And this thing is quiet up to 135 kilometers per hour, which is the maximum top speed for EV drive. And that's amazing. You can go on the highway as that fast with absolutely no engine noise, and it's simply amazing. And the electric motor torque, it's fabulous. So let's put it into reverse. Reverse is selected. Now I can check my cameras. I will take the handbrake off, and now I'm going to gently reverse from here from this meadow here into the mud road, and that's going to be really dirty, really dirty, but that's an 4x4 car road. So now I'm driving, I'm off-roading in complete absolute silence. So there's no noise other than the wheels onto the road. And now I'm going to go again into a big puddle of mud. And you can only hear some noise from the boot area where my camera equipment is and my drone and stuff like that. So only that rattles there. And the suspension on this car, it's hugely improved from the older Outlander models. It's no longer that hard like you are driving a tractor or a truck. It's more like driving a luxury car. So it's like floating around over all these bumps and dirt and stuff like that. It's simply amazing how good they have improved the suspension. And I'm still in EV mode, and now I'm going to cross that, and because it has rained, it's now a lot more deeper, but let's hope for the best. And absolutely no problem. And there's another big mud and a bit steep hill, but the 4x4, it's working perfectly, and I'm still in full EV mode. There's no engine noise. That's something different. Off-roading electric in 4x4 with no strange noises and no engine killing and no slippage of the clutch and stuff like that. Simply amazing.